Yo, what's the deal? Everything. TribeWestside, Gotti 777, Ghetto Physics 777. You know what the deal is. Westside Worldwide, the Westside Tribe, TribeWestside, the Chief. I'm commanding peace. You did. Nah, but word is bond. I'm just opening the way right now with love and just much joy and gratitude just for the energy that I'm in and what I want to bring and share. And I want to speak on the power of nine. That's what I want to speak on because that's something that's been speaking unto me, just through my own, navigation and whatnot. And honestly, just through my own journey of, my spiritual path. Nine has been a big highlight number in my journey and even a big part to me initiating a lot of things, so when it comes to starting and beginning new things and doing new things, the number nine is very significant when it comes to just my journey and me being who I am, where I am, and doing what I'm doing. And also, like, the shit that I would say, the things that I've been able to cultivate, and create, what I mean? So this 9 year, is very lit. It's been lit, what I mean? It's been very insightful, highly intuitive, very creative. And I could say, for me, ultimately expansive. It's been expansive in the areas where, where it is needed. Maybe not where one, most desires, but where one is needing the most expansion. So therefore the desires and things can, manifest accordingly to the truth and the way of the life that you are. You know what I'm talking about? And so understanding, just the energy of nine definitely is connected to the Christ consciousness energy, dealing with we can talk about Jesus Christ, the Buddha, who else? We can talk about the Ennead, the Ennead, the nine gods and goddesses, I wanted to say something else though, not Jesus and a Krishna or Buddha, but Quetzalcoatl is connected to the nine. So that nine energy of the Maya, you feel me? And nine represented I would say it represents the completion before the completion. So it's like that pre-existence, you know what I'm talking about? So we could even look at the nine energy, in the feminine aspect of the womb and the mother and all of that, yeah. But let's just stay more numerology wise. Let's keep it numerical and get into the metaphysics of the numbers. Because I find for nine, even before this year, I've been meditating. Nine was the first number that I meditated on. Can I say that? Yes, I can. So I would meditate. Now I would take 9 breaths, and that's how I would kind of that's how I would say open up the channels and the spaces and whatnot, the energy within my body. I would always look to reach, the 9, and I feel that meditating on the number 9, it would always bring me to a place of remembrance, renewal, transformation, rebirth, and let's say creating the manifest reality or desire that I so dream or imagine or could want in myself, right? And so I find that when it came to, my intuition and my higher self guidance, it was the number 9 that I was guided to meditate on, just to understand that as, when you meditate on certain frequencies and, patterns and breaths and all of that, you're actually placing the mind body experience into the essence of what, let's say one is cultivating as an idea, thought, or whatever is to be an action, right? And so 9 has been a significant number for me. And even to know that, let's say in this year, in this year of 9, it is represented the fire. And I myself as a fire sign, it has been, I guess it's been making more sense than maybe it has before. So a lot of the correspondence between me and 9, or the energy of 9, has been, I would say, showing up a lot through me and my actions and my ways of being, but even in the sense of my transformation, should I say, and the transformation that is concurrent and ongoing, and let's say it's a continuum, it's consistent, it's constant. So to the change that I've been looking to create and make within myself, definitely it has started with 9, and I love that about that. And as I go further, just within the aspect of just 9, the 9 energy for me came up today, just understanding, like, me starting my journey, or a lot of me initiating more on my journey through meditation, was with the number 9 and breathing on 9. And then furthermore, understanding how the Hindu gods, Shiva, Krishna, Buddha, Kali, them all, you know what I'm talking about? So between all of the Hindu gods, right, a lot of them are, all of those gods or deities correspond back to the number 9. Whether you meditate and you breathing or chanting at 108 times, you know what I'm saying? It is all sequenced back to the number 9. You know what I mean? So the expansion and what I've been realizing of that is like, I don't know, I guess it's the beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, because I find the expansion is in the completion or the fulfillment of, I would say, a holistic nature or a holistic being. You know what I mean? So considerably, not just the human, but the inner, you know what I'm saying, as far as mind, body, soul, spirit. You know what I'm saying? So understanding how to recourse those thoughts and actions of the human back to the source that you come from, definitely, is it starts with 9, I should say, because, it takes 9 months for you to get here, unless you're premature. In respect to that, I got a premature sibling, so ain't no pressure in that, but essentially when it comes to the cycles of creation and life and expansion, I would even say the number 9 is highlighted in such a subtle, spiritual, esoteric way. I don't want to say unseen, because we see the manifestations of these numbers and things every day. Numbers, letters, signs, symbols, but whatever they mean for you or to you is what you define, the symbols to be. And so I understand, or I've been understanding more of the spirit of these numbers through rather the coding of patterns and sequences and things of, thought, action, and all of that, or even inaction and non-thought, and just, let's say, a presence and essence of being, you know what I mean? And so that is something that I find is beautiful within this 9 energy, because this 9 energy, when you really are, and shout out, because it's coming back up, but shout out to the 9th dimension, you know what I mean? And because that's dealing with, the string theory and the singularity and all of that. But I even look at that more expansive, just understanding more on the mind-body experience. Where is these dimensional bodies? Where is these dimensional spaces in, Where is these dimensional spaces and places inside of the self? You know what I'm saying? And so how to transform or take this illusion or the image and magnify it, or expand it, or let's say, manifest your desired self. You know what I'm saying? So that definitely, for me, what I'm saying is that the way that I began on that was creating or starting from the starting point of 9. And that's why I would like to say, although 9 is the pre-existent to the existing of the completion that is to be, right? Ultimately, before you get to 10, you gotta at least be at 9. You know what I'm talking about? So you gotta reach 9. You know what I'm saying? So as much as it could be of an ending, it is really a new beginning or something coming into fruition that is, of the potential. And me understanding the science of my own body and mind, I'm like, shit, okay, well, if it took 9 months for a nigga to get here, I'm sure that I can meditate on the energy in the space of causality and, creation, whereas 9 breaths, or just, within 9 breaths, I can, throughout those 9 breaths, it's not about breathing fast, right? But it's about taking those 9 breaths, right? And through those 9 breaths, you are rather cultivating and tapping into the escape or the scope of what you are then creating or seeing for yourself. You know what I mean? And so from the unseen into the seen, you know what I'm saying? And at the same time, when you start to adapt or adopt the nature of who you truly are in that essence, right? Then the being of who you are and what you are expressing will correspond with the necessary symbols. And so I find that 9 is a big number for me. You know, I was born in a personal year of 9, so that was some shit. You know, just understanding more of like the number 9 and being connected to my journey and just my whole. And I say my journey, my life, nigga. Period. You know what I mean? My nigga, everything. You know. So my starting point was on the 9, nigga. I came in on the 9. This year is 9, and nigga, we going. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's something big for me, just based on the fact that when meditating on, well, for me, and a lot of times in my meditation, I'm more focused on creating the spaces and places of which I could then embody, or even creating, let's say, the self, you know what I mean, for me to embody and do what one will or what I like to do. You feel me? So in the beginning of it, I didn't get it, but I knew what I was doing, if that makes sense. So I knew what I wanted and what I was expecting from the 9 energy, or just from, you know, meditating on 9, which was more so stepping into a new transform or a better part of myself in a more light self. And I'm going to say light self because the 9 is on inside. You are standing in 10. I'm standing in 10 toes, 2 feet. Exactly. So the 9 is representative of the hidden sun, I shall say. Because the 6, as far as the tree of life, Kabbalah and all of that, the tree of life, or let's say 6, Tiferet, represents the outer sun. So the outer consciousness, the physical, you know what I'm saying? But overall, that 9 represents that inside, which is also on a higher octave of frequency. So when you go within, or when you tap in, or then you are, let's say, recoursing the actions and thoughts of the day that you had or went through, you can renew and transform these things into the reality that you know or you see fit, right? And that's where I've been learning, or just seeing more. I would say I've been receiving more clarity, but I've been seeing it more often in my journey as to how me meditating on 9, or just meditating on 9, has uprooted me and connected me into my more unseen self, into my more essence self, into the light within myself. Not to say you can't meditate on 6 and not get no downloads and nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that just like we know letters and words have meaning and definition and purpose, right? I've been looking at the numbers and the codes and just understanding that, because everything is coded, especially everything is coded through numerical aspects of 0 to 9, you know. So from every footstep you take, for every footstep you take, from every time you blink your eye, and I'm not saying this is what you have to be so fixed on or worried about, but in the coding of actions in the way that you operate, that is a big thing when it comes to you truly being who you are intentionally. And I find that the number 9 is an intentional number itself, because in the process of 9, or in the process of creation, one would say, what causes action or manifestation, or let's say what causes an effect, you know what I'm saying? And understanding in the realm of cause, or in the hyper dimensions and higher realms, you know what I'm saying? That's where I've been able to understand how to map out my steps and the things that I want to do or I need to do to get what I want in the desired result. You feel me? So this is really just, you know, me kind of speaking on a more psychedelic aspect of the number 9, or just numbers period, but mainly the number 9, because understanding psychedelic, or the definition of psychedelic, meaning mind manifesting, then we can understand the numbers and how they are manifested, or how we manifested the numbers and made them what they are, or how we even drew them and created them from different, I would say, modes, nodes, and patterns and shit. You know what I mean? So the discovery of that, you know what I mean, I find is through creation itself. And so that's why niggas are supposed to be tapping in, should I say. You know, you're supposed to be tapping in and understanding your outer experience with your inner world vision. You know what I'm saying? And or either synchronizing the outer experience with your inner world vision, or bringing your inner world vision to the outer experience. Either way it go, It's all through the cycles of 9. And this is where we talk about the creation, the womb, the feminine energy, the matriarchal lineage, and all of that, mitochondria. We can talk about all of that. But essentially, the number 9 is significant unto this aspect of creation based on birth or rebirth and renewal. And there's so many ways I could say, or so many ways I should say, that you can create if we understand creation and if we understand the energy of sex and just sexuality and all of that. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the number as is, going beyond gender of what we want to say, masculine, feminine, this, that, the third. Let's let energy be energy without its body, and we would understand it as all more of a androgyny or a primordial sense of itself, being that it's masculine and it's feminine. You know what I'm saying? So based on, I would say, intention, objective of whatever the 9 is intending to do or be, will determine how you stand on your 2 feet, 10 toes in this Malkuth here. And so, therefore, I find when it comes to truth, and even we'll even talk about creating truth, you know what I mean? Manifesting or materializing what you want from a place of your own truth or sovereignty or your way of being, let's say freestyle, you know what I mean? But I don't want to lose track of what I was saying, just based on the energy of sex and creation, and how if we understand creating a business, creating a song, drawing, fucking, you know what I'm talking about? All of these different aspects of sex where the right brain and the left brain have to, you know, come together to form a thought, a fact or opinion or any sort of concept idea, right? So the oneness of your mind is not necessarily your brain, as in your mind is not your brain. Rather, you're creating your mind through the awareness of the space that you are in as the soul and spirit being. You know what I'm saying? So how you experience it in the human or of the human is that your pace of free will, you know? And so when meditating, chanting or doing mantras on certain frequencies or numbers, right? Understanding, when meditating or chanting mantras or whatever at certain numbers, know that it's to vibrate, or you're vibrating at a certain frequency. So based on the level of 9 and the energy of creation, what is one creating throughout the space of meditation when it comes to the thoughts and awareness of what you are drawing in? You know, because when it comes to the visions or the thoughts or what you are being made aware of through meditation, this is where you should be able to, or you should learn to map out, let's say, the ritual or the spirit, right? And the routine of how you think a thought, or how you would envision something to be in you, for you to see what you need to see or do with that will, right? And I find that 9 is just one of those numbers that it is like, you know, it's a number of inspiration, and it's a number of inspiration, and it's a number of newness. You know what I'm saying? So like I was saying, that new idea or that new concept or that renewal is what is waiting to be brought forth through going inward or being intuitive, right? And so going deeper as far as just on the psychedelic aspect of 9, man, I've recently, you know what I mean, been in the 10-gram space of the psychedelics. And just mainly, I only do mushrooms, so I ain't fucking with no LSD. You know what I mean? If the toad come my way, then hey, that's between me and the toad. But as far as I know, you know what I'm saying, I've been rocking with myself. You know what I'm saying? I've been rocking with me and the mushrooms. You know what I mean? I love the mushrooms, not gonna lie, because through the mushrooms, I've been able to connect with my ancestors, the elders, and the many divine beings of the sacred space of the mushroom. But through the energy, no. Based on the dosages and reaching, or let's say incorporating higher dosages, like 9 grams, 10 grams, so forth and so on, because these people going way beyond what the fuck I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is the experiences, or let's say the functioning of the space, there we go, how your spirit operates beyond the body, you feel what I'm saying, or pre-existing to what the mind is then receiving as an instruction from the intuition, you feel me? And this is where that 9 energy is so is highlighted. It's so highlighted, and it's so in high demand of, let's say, being in tune with the you that you are, I would say, aspiring and inspiring to be in action, or let's say to be in manifestation of, you know what I mean? To be all you are. So nigga, definitely the 9 has much more to offer in its wisdom, just based on the sacred energy of it being a rather spiritual or internal number, if we can understand. And this is some numerology shit. Some say, or it's been said that and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, even though I don't think it, they say that odd numbers are masculine and the even numbers are feminine. So I don't want to say that neither here nor there, but I find that that'll come up just in my message. Understanding when it comes to, you know, being who you intend to be. Who are you? You know what I'm saying? Who are you choosing to be, or who do you dream yourself of as is, you know? And how does that express oneself, or how do you express yourself? Because I find even within the 10 toes of all of this, it is inseparable of that singularity, of the, let's say, what makes you an individual, you know what I mean? And so that will go or tap into the individuality of your thought form or pattern, you know what I'm saying? So many a times I hear a lot of people, you know, negate from thought, or negate from the awareness of their thoughts and whatnot. And I understand that, you know, on a level of theology and meditation and silence and whatnot, right? But going beyond that, you know what I mean? Thoughts, actions, and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Creating and mapping out an experience. Where did the idea come from? How are you conceptualizing the idea, and how do you dress it up and make it real for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Definitely would be through mapping out your thoughts, let's say as stars, or as codes and sequences according to the patterns that you understand, or let's say you shape your mind to manifest fast. Because when you are able to then shape your thoughts accordingly to the objective or the intention of which you are seeking, or then mobilizing and meaning to operate, then you embody the space of all of that. And that's what, let's say, meditating on 9 will teach you that. You know what I'm saying? So whether you meditating, got a lot of words. Whether you meditating, you know what I mean, you breathing 9 times, or whether you breathing 36 times, or whether you breathing 1,008 times, or 108 times, 540, all of that is sequenced to the number 9 based on the numerology aspect of the foundation of reduction. You know what I mean? So 5 plus 4 is 9. So even if you were to just meditate or breathe 54 times, you're reaching, you know, you're reaching different dimensions or higher altitudes of what 9 could be potentially. You feel what I'm saying? So let's say, how many ways can you create the same thing? You know what I'm saying? And that is an art form in itself. Beautiful. And so in the space, or in the psychedelic aspect of numbers can teach you such thing when you understand what the numbers are meaning, let's say, at the space time of you then seeing them, or encountering and experiencing them. And so even on a deeper aspect of, let's say, why you may do what you do, or why certain events, let's say cosmically or even, earthly, may take place at the way they do. It's all sequenced and it's all coded based on the numerical patterns that you have within your own awareness, not necessarily the thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Because your awareness, your knowledge, your information comes first, and then you then have a thought about it, like, oh, okay, now I'm thinking about it, or what am I thinking about? That's if you're thinking about what you're really interested in, you know what I'm saying? So even when it comes to your thoughts, yes, question your thoughts, but don't be afraid, you know what I'm talking about? Because too many times niggas speak fear into the mind, from the mind, and only diminishing and putting a damp on the spirit, and that's out. And so if you really get to I would say know thyself, you know what I'm saying? And even on a numerical aspect, of numbers and things like that, you could really then get to learn more about yourself and what's meant for you, even on a level of unseen or a subtle aspect of just signs and symbols. And I find that numbers is a big thing because, nigga, we see numbers all the time, whether it be the street signs, whether it be the numbers on the phone, whether it be the numbers that's recording and saying that I'm at this many minutes and seconds right now. We are seeing numbers more than let's say, we are seeing our particular thoughts. You know what I'm talking about? So when it comes to you manifesting your thoughts, or you doing what you intended to do as a thought or idea, then you could also understand certain signs and symbols that, let's say, correspond with that unseen thing, right? And get to connect yourself with that, you know what I mean? Or let's say, draw it together or sync up with it. That's what I want to say. Synchronizing the energy, you know what I mean? And so that's what that's about. And that's what I was saying earlier. When it comes to synchronizing your inner world, right, with your outer world, or synchronizing your outer world with your inner world. And this is where you have to recourse, because a lot of times niggas operate half a brain. So niggas only operate, with the left brain, or some people only operate with the right brain. But nigga, that is not a mind in itself. Nigga, the brain itself is one. You know what I'm saying? So to operate just from what, when, where, why, how, and who, or logic, you know what I mean, is very limited. And let's say to be lost in creation or darkness or chaos of what potentials and things of that nature is limited, because the unison that must take place within the self is through the creation. Not so much the irritation or the hesitation of thought, wondering if potential possibility or it all could be. You know what I'm saying? So this is where the realization should come forth through meditation, but I would even say your manifestation. You know what I mean? You should have realization of the actions and thoughts and things that you do in this world. You know what I'm saying? Because that'll definitely determine how the universe and the world, the earth and other planets and all of that shit is eventful unto you or around you, because it's all you, sourced from you. So you gotta know that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know that. And I find the numbers is just a big way, but it's also something more simple. It's something more simple to the purpose of definition that we can then give it, or we define for it, other than us limiting the purpose and meaning of, oh, that's just mean that, you know what I mean? Or it's just that, and it's like, nah, all of these things have a multi-dimensional aspect of them in which they represent. So if you understand yourself as a multi-dimensional